Hello everyone, welcome to SDG News Show today. I'm the host Qingxin. As we know, the Sustainable Development Goals are the blueprint to achieve a better and more sustainable future for all. And our news show is aimed to report the challenges we are facing and the progress we have achieved. This week, we are going to get close to the SDG 11, Sustainable Cities and Communities, which purpose to make cities inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. This SDG mainly arises in recent years in cities with the rapid urbanization. There needs to be a future in which cities provide opportunities for all with access to basic services, energy, housing, transportation, and more. So today, we have invited a professor of urbanization to our show and discuss the topic together. Let's welcome Dr. Hao Han.
Hi.
Nice to meet you, Hao Han. So what do you think about SDG 11?
Yes, you are right. It's truly important. In other words, making a sustainable city is an urgent problem for human race. And since the Industrial Revolution, urbanization is a stage that must be experienced in the process of human development, and which is also related to the development of society, technology, and economy. That means human future. So, in order to achieve it perfectly, this goal is necessary to exist.
Yes, and not only for human development. Making cities sustainable is also connected with other sustainable development goals, like maintain good health and well-being of citizens, reduce and eliminate poverty, and achieve quality education. There are numbers of challenges we are facing, such as housing, employment, and environmental problems, and today we want to focus on a basic and general problem existing cities: transportation. And we believe that transportation infrastructure plays an important and significant role in solving the traffic problems. That's why we invited Dr. Hao Han here to introduce some of the situation.
Yes, and I introduce myself again. I'm an expert of the urban rural planning. So today I want to talk about transport infrastructure. Just like the Qingxing said, it's an important way to solve problems the rapid urbanization brings us. And to give you a more intuitive impression, I would like to tell you two statistics about how was the situation now. First, only 53% urban residents have convenient access to public transport. What's worse, 9/10 urban residents breathe the polluted air.
That sounds really serious situation. So what do you think the reason for the solution of transportation infrastructure?
Well, I think it has two main reasons. First, developing transport infrastructure can be easy to achieve and can also be visible, which means that citizens can benefit from it and at the same time feel the effect of making sustainable cities through this. Another important reason I want to say is that it have a significant positive influence in the long run. Although it can't work in the short term, even leads to a worse condition. And some examples of the real world has already told us this.
So now we have been familiar with today's topic. Next, let's link to our outdoor journalist Yu Bing to get closer to our city's traffic in Shanghai. She will make some on-site interviews lively. Hello, Yu Bing. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear it. Hello, Qingxi. I'm now in Shanghai, and today I want to interview Zitong, the person in charge of Shanghai's local road planning, who has made important contributions to Shanghai's road planning. She will introduce the content and results of the road planning plan in Shanghai.
Hi, I'm the supervisor of the Shanghai Road Planning Projects.
Can you tell us about the content and results of the specific project?
We focus on two aspects of developing transport infrastructure. First, the public transport is developed, especially the metro lines and BRT lines. Nowadays, Shanghai has 18 lines all over the city, and they connect every district. And there are regulations that other vehicles cannot use the BRT lines in specific peak hours, in order to ensure the smooth traffic. Another aspect is the reallocation of the road space. We divide it into 4 parts. Puxi and Pudong districts are the typical examples to show our achievement in building overpasses and broadening roads. As an old and historic area, the road planning of Puxi in the past was not reasonable, and it led to extreme traffic jam. The new overpasses provide more roads above the ground. Recent years, we make a comprehensive planning with broadening the road in advance for Pudong. That is why the traffic here is smooth. In addition, providing more cycle passes and greenways to the public is also important in our plan.
Thanks for your introduction. Personally, cycle paths and greenways are also appearing more and more in our lives, not only making the whole city look more beautiful, but more importantly, reducing carbon emission, improving the level of well-being. Okay, these are the specific plans for Shanghai's road planning. We will interview some citizens on the spot to see what they think and feel. Now, I have come to a subway station in Shanghai. 2 citizens have just agreed to my interview, so let's ask them what effects they think public transports have.
Well, you can see there are so many different subway lines in Shanghai. Already 18 lines. I can't believe it. As a university student live in college town located in the most west in Shanghai, I also can go to the city center for shopping by Metro Line 9 conveniently. If you drive your car to the city center, because of traffic jam, it will take you more than 2 hours compared to 1 hour by metro. So, the subway infrastructure changes our lives and really contributes to the smooth traffic.
Exactly. Another advantage I want to share is that, for me, living in Jinshan, it is far, far away from the city center. My friend laughed at me living in another city. I couldn't stand the long commute. So I rented the house in the city center 10 years ago, and it really cost me a lot. Since the Jinshan railway line connected with city center was established, I remember in 2012, now I can live in my own house, and I think the developed public transport make every commute easier.
Thank you for your answers. We can see that citizens still hold a positive attitude towards public transports, which can make the traffic smooth and reduce commuting time for people. Next, I will go to the next location to collect citizens' thoughts on the reallocation of road space. Now, I have come to Nanjing West Road, where there is a lot of people in Shanghai. I just found a citizen of Pudong. Let's listen to his answer. How do you think the traffic situation in Pudong has changed?
I think Pudong has changed a lot because I think Pudong was a rural village before, but it's getting better and better through subsequent construction. And of course, the traffic problem was considered during the construction. Wide roads were designed to reduce traffic congestion, which facilitates people's lives.
Thank you for your answer. Next, let's ask the citizens from Puxi. What do you think about the traffic plan in Puxi?
Because Puxi lacked the road traffic planning during the previous construction, many overpasses were built later, which eased the traffic pressure to a certain extent. However, it is greatly affected by the weather, and the overpass will be closed in the heavy rain or fog, affecting people's travel.
Thank you for the interview. Through interviews with the citizens of Pudong and Puxi, we learned about the different road allocations in Pudong and Puxi. This tells us that reallocation of road space is very important for the development of the city. In the urban planning, the traffic pressure of the city must be taken into account, so that it is conducive to sustainable development. The above is my interview. Now, hand over the time to the live broadcast room.
Thank you for your report, Yubing. That's very detailed and amazing interviews, and we can see the significant change and improvement of Shanghai transportation. So let's back to our studio. I would like to ask Dr. Hao Han that how do you think about it?
Yes, it seems very successful and gives us a good example of developing transport infrastructure. But what we can't ignore is that it does have some limitations.
Oh, some limitations? Can you explain that?
Let me explain it using the case we just heard about. Obviously, relocation of road space has a lot of advantages, but it takes a negative effect in the meanwhile. For example, construction of a large number of overpass bring us convenience. However, it also motivates people buying cars, which means that the air quality in the city will be worse than before. And except for this, the huge cost of them also need government to be concerned, which is mainly financial cost and also including labor cost and so on. In a word, this is not as simple as it looks.
Well, I believe your concern. It sounds credible. So do you have some opinions on how to overcome?
Well, it's hard to say, and no, I just have a few suggestions from the perspective of the government. First, issuing municipal bond is a good way to reduce the financial burden of the government. This appeared earlier in foreign countries, and we can see it does have efficiency. But our country is still in the exploratory stage. Anyway, it's a good solution, I think. And to overcome the negative effect of the allocation of road space, government is necessary to create some related regulations, something like number of license plate restrictions and road restrictions.
Yes, that's a kind of solution. But are they effective and practical?
Well, how to say that? On the one hand, the methods do exist, but it needs time to measure whether they are efficient or not. On the other hand, whether the government will take action is the key to solve the problem. And all we talk about are based on this point.
Yes, I agree with you. Thank you for explanation.
That's my pleasure. Thank you.
Now I'm sure our cities will be more and more safe and sustainable in this way. And now it's time to get to the end of news show. If you have opinions or suggestions about SDGs and the news, please refer to our mailbox below the screen. We are very glad to collect your ideas about sustainable cities.